Good morning. Welcome in ICA classes. So, good morning. Hitesh, Annie, Madhushri, Rahul, Yedukon, Dolo, everyone. Send your presence whomsoever is available. So, how was the last year's beta? Yes, AS20 is clear to everyone. Tell me if there is any doubt so that I can proceed further. Yes. Any doubt to anyone? Any doubt to any student? Tell me if there is any doubt, beta. Yeah. Illustration number 4. Aditi says, at least illustration number 4. Rahul, a brief recap. Brief recap, you may better go for the IC reference, quick reference module. In that, you may go for that in a very easy manner, beta. Better we may consider only because we have to cover all the years. We can't repeat it again and again. This is our problem. These are not my personal classes. These are IC classes. Don't worry. So this is given in your ICQ reference. Everything is given in a very simple way. So you may better review it from here. It's not typical AS. If you will think it is typical, then it is your wrong presumption, because AS 19 is a lengthy AS. Obviously, we have to cover many things in that, but in AS 20, we have to cover only two things: basic EPS and the diluted EPS. While covering the basic EPS, you will have to go for only one thing, that is whatever the number of shares are already issued by us, whatever the number of shares which are already issued by us, we have to use that for the purpose of our calculation of basic EPS, that is total earning available for equity shareholders divided by number of equity shares already issued. So that was the only concept in that. But for diluted EPS, you will have to go for a simple thing: whatever shares are not yet issued but which are going to be issued in future, if any option is given to the debenture holders or employee stock option plans, so wherever any option of acquiring equity shares or converting themselves into equity shares is already given to anyone, so that will be assumed that has been done. We are assuming that has been done, and whatever that has been done, we have assumed. On the basis of that, we will calculate our EPS once again. That is called diluted EPS. So these are two major things in this particular AS. Better we will go for illustrations. So a student is asking for illustration number 4. Illustration number 4. Yeah, this was illustration number 4, in which we have already covered this thing, that already. What is your basic issue in this case, Aditi? If you will better tell me, I would like to concentrate on that. Not clear in EPS. Okay. EPS we have to calculate in this case. That is very simple. If we'll go for yes, yes. This is very simple. In the given question, he has already mentioned you that number of shares outstanding prior to right issue, because in this case, right issue is there. So in this case, NP of the 2 years is given to you, 2011 and 2012. Right issue is done. It is done on the date of 1st of March 2012. So obviously, as on that date, we have the profit available with us only 11 lakh, because last year profit is to be considered. This profit is not yet calculated as on 1st of March 2012. If you will see this, this profit is not yet calculated. We have calculated only 11 lakh profit because this is the profit available with us, and number of shares are 5 lakh. So one thing is this. Second is we have to calculate according to the concept of right issue. If right issue is already made, number of shares outstanding prior to right issue, that was 5 lakh. Now, if right issue is already made, then how will be the calculation? See, here it is. This has also been made clear that after right issue, here, yes, after right issue, the price is not given, but one thing is given: before right issue, the price was 21. This is the price which has been given to you, and right issue is made on in at the rate of 15 per share. So that has been given to you. So this is the EPS which we have calculated. Yes, in this, first of all, he has calculated critical X-ride price. What it is? This meant for that if I have any product with me, just assume I have a product named laptop. I have purchased 5 laptop at the rate of 20,000 per laptop. So I purchased it for 1 lakh. Later on, I purchased 10 more laptops, and these are given to me on the basis of these laptops. If I have one, I'll get two more. So if I have one laptop with me earlier, then I'll get two more laptop at the rate of rupees 10,000 only. So on that basis, I got 10 more laptops, because earlier I have 5 laptops. I may get two laptops against every one laptop. So this is a provision given to me. This is a benefit given to me. So I'll get 10 laptops in this case at the rate of 10,000 each. So now I have purchased these 10 laptops for rupees 1 lakh only. So these two purchases are correlated with each other. They have a correlation with each other as these are purchased against each other. So if I see, I have total 15 laptops now. 5 I have earlier, 10 I got from an option, which is correlated with this. So these 15 laptops cost me 1 lakh plus 1 lakh. So it costs to me 2 lakh. So if I'll see what is my net purchase price per laptop, net purchase price per laptop, then how to get it beta? It will be 2 lakh divided by 15. So this is my net laptop price for one laptop. It will be approximately, it will be less than 20,000 obviously. It will be less than 20,000. So this type of concept is here. If I have 5 lakh shares earlier, which are valued at the rate of 21 per share, I got 1 lakh more shares against these 5 lakh shares. So due to that reason, I'll get it at a lower cost. My price is 15 per share. So what will be the price for one share after this right issue? That will be 20. Is that clear? Now on that basis, we will get a adjustment factor. This is a method of calculating EPS. So adjustment factor is fair value 21 before right issue and X right value after right issue, that is 20. We assume that the price will reduce to 20 as a person who have already five shares will get one more share. So his price will reduce because earlier he has price of 21, but now he has taken it over at 15. So average price will reduce. So that has been done in this case, beta. So here adjustment factor is calculated for the purpose of calculating EPS. Now what is EPS? In case of 2011, otherwise EPS is very simple. 11 lakh divided by 5 lakh. That is very simple. But in case there is a assumption that right share has been made, so we have to recalculate our EPS. So that will be done by multiplying it with 1.05. That may be done in many ways. There are a number of other ways also, but this is easy and understandable. This is easy and rememberable. So you will have to multiply it with 1.05, 5 lakh into 1.05, and this will be used for dividing 11 lakh rupees, and you will get your EPS after right issue. And for the next year, EPS will be 5 lakh into 1.05 into 2 months. Why it is 2 months? Let it be very much clear. Now we have 5 lakh shares from 1st of January 2012 to 1st of March 2012. Due to that reason, 5 lakh is taken. But this 5 lakh is subject to a right share which has been given against it. So that is the way why it is multiplied with 1.05, and this will remain for 2 months only. For January to 1st of March, 2 months. After then, we issued 1 lakh more shares. So 5 lakh plus 1 lakh, we have 6 lakh shares now. And the period of these shares is 10 months. So 10 months is taken here, 10 into 10 by 12. So you can go by that way also. Otherwise, we have already done it according to our system. Our system was 5 lakh shares for 2 months plus 6 lakh shares for 10 months divided by what we are doing, divided by 12. But here we have to multiply it with 1.05. This is a new adjustment due to the reason of right share. Otherwise, simple thing is here 5 lakh into 2 into 1.05 plus 6 lakh into 10 divided by 12. So that we are doing earlier also. If we are interested to convert it on the basis of period. So what it is, you will get your weighted number of shares. This is a weighted number of shares we got it. Now this weighted number of share will be used for dividing your profit. What is your profit? Profit is 15 lakh rupees. So 15 lakh rupees is divided by 5 lakh 87,500. So first of all, this is weighted number of shares. So this has been calculated by this method. Otherwise, we may get it 5 lakh into 2 into 1.05 plus 6 lakh into 10 divided by 12. So this will help you to get this much 5 lakh 87,500. And finally, it will be divided with, it will be used for dividing total profit of 2012. I assume it is clear, beta. Now come to illustration number 6, beta. Is that clear? Having any doubt, just tell me. Illustration number 6. In this illustration, he has given you that the net profit is 12 lakh for last year, and the weighted average number of equity share outstanding is 5 lakh. Fair value of one share is 20, and weighted average number of shares under options during the year 1 lakh. So what it is, basically this is the option, implied stock option plan. Here we have given options to the employees that they may convert their options. We have given them ESOPs. ESOPs are basically issued to them. So this will be obviously a chapter, complete chapter, which we will have to cover. So this is a part of our syllabus. We will cover it in detail also. Otherwise, you will have to assume it as just like convertible debentures. So it's just like convertible debentures. We will assume it for the purpose of doing this illustration only. So 1 lakh shares will be converted. It will be converted into 1 lakh shares. And he says exercise price per share, those who are interested to purchase these options, convert these options into equity shares, will be given to purchase it at 15 per share. We have to calculate the basic and diluted EPS. How to get it? First is very simple. Everyone may easily understand this thing. I assumes that our earning is 12 lakh. And 5 lakh is our weighted average number of shares outstanding. This has already been done by him for your purpose. Means he have already calculated that the 5 lakh is the weighted average number of shares. Means whatever is to be multiplied for the purpose of time factor, for the purpose of other factors, whatever are there. You meant this meant for partly paid up or fully paid up. That has been done by him. And finally, he got 5 lakh. So 12 lakh divided by 5 lakh. This is a basic EPS which we have calculated for you, 2.40. Now, under options, we have 1 lakh shares. Under option, we have 1 lakh shares with us, which is to be issued. Now, he has given us the detail. If you will see here, that exercise price is 15 per share. Otherwise, average fair value of one equity share during the year is 20. So here also we have to go for the same system of adjustment factor, that is 15 divided by 20. So 1 lakh are the implied stock option plans, which will be multiplied with 15 divided by 20. That means for whatever the price at which it will be given, it will be multiplied with that and divided by the fair value per share. This has also been given in your theory. If you will see the theory part. I think you have read this theory or not, beta? Here it is given to you. For the purpose of calculating diluted EPS, enterprise should assume the exercise of dilutive options and other potential equity shares of the enterprise. They assume the proceed from these shares will be considered to have been received. We will assume that the payment has been received from the issue of shares at fair value, not the value at which it is issued. but we will assume that the shares amount is received at fair value. Now, what is the fair value? That should be considered. In this case, fair value is 20 rupees per share. 1 lakh shares are there. We will assume that the amount is received at fair value. The difference between the number of shares issuable and the number of shares that would have been issued at fair value should be treated as an issue of equity shares for no consideration. That means for what we will do. Let's understand this thing better. He says you have to issue 1 lakh shares at the rate of 15 per share. Otherwise, their fair value is 20 rupees per share. Now, you have to go for the mathematical calculation. Here we will get proceed of 1 lakh into 15. This is 15 lakh. So tell me how you will get 15 lakh if one share is issued for rupees 20, that is fair value. Fair value per share is 20. So how many number of shares are to be issued at fair value to get rupee 15 lakh? How to get it? If you are interested to get 15 lakh from shares to be issued at 20 each only, then obviously you will have to issue how many shares? 75,000 shares. You have to issue 75,000 shares. That it means for. It means here out of 1 lakh shares, it has been divided into two parts. We have received 15 lakh, that is equivalent to the proceed of 75,000 shares issued at 20. That is fair value. Remaining 25,000 shares which are given to them. Obviously, these are given free of cost. If you will this is just a concept which has been given here. Read it. He has already mentioned you this thing. That for the purpose of calculating diluted EPS, the assumed proceed from these shares should have been considered to have been received from the issue of shares at fair value, not the value at which it has been issued. The difference between the number of shares issuable and the number of shares that would have been issued at fair value. That means for number of share issuable means 1 lakh shares. And number of shares that would have been issued at fair value, that means for 75,000. Remaining will be assumed as issued for no consideration. That is 25,000 shares will be assumed as issued for zero consideration. That it means for beta. So note it down first, then we will proceed. Then I will let you understand the remaining concept in this question, in this illustration. First note it down. Copied? Assumed it is clear to everyone. So we have assumed that this has been issued accordingly and diluted EPS is calculated accordingly. That 5 lakh shares are issued earlier. Now remaining shares are assumed as issued for no consideration. That is 25,000 shares are issued for no consideration. So that has been added in that 12 lakh, in the 12 lakh. So 12 lakh divided by 5 lakh 25,000. That is those shares which are going to be issued for no consideration. 75,000 will be issued at normal price. Because if you see that the 75,000 shares are to be issued, then these are to be issued at normal price. So there's no worry for those. But we are going to issue 25,000 shares at free of cost. So that is going to dilute our EPS. That is going to change our EPS because dilution meant for changing after merger. So we have to recalculate our EPS by the name of diluted EPS. Next is loss of asset due to theft. Is it extraordinary item or exceptional? He really is asking. It's an exceptional item, beta, because loss of asset is not a ordinary item. Loss of asset is a not a ordinary item. Due to that reason, it is an exceptional item. Let's proceed to the next AS. I think everyone is clear on this AS. Send me your satisfaction, whether it was good, understandable, or the best one. If you have understood, tell me. What's your feedback for this AS? Let's do AS28 now. I'm leaving two AS yet, AS22 and AS24, which we will do. Next, we will do AS22. Just I am trying to mix the AS in that way so that you can understand it in a better way. Due to that reason, I'm not going to leave two AS. AS22 and 24 are pending. We will do it, but just I'm starting AS28 so that it will be more understandable today. This is my assumption by way of presentation. There are many questions given at the end also, I think. There are many questions which are given at the end. I see here. You must have to do it better. Sorry. It is AS 26 which we have to do. I'm leaving AS 22 and 24. Today we will do AS 26. AS 28 is not in your syllabus. So what is AS 26? Let's understand it first. The objective is very simple. We are interested to identify what is intangible asset. Basically, intangible asset is not covered in AS 10 because in AS10 we have covered accounting for fixed assets in our previous class, paper 1 of accounting. So we know it very well. There are two types of assets. One are the tangible assets. Second one is the intangible asset. So we haven't a proper AS on intangible asset. Due to that reason, this AS is framed. Because now a time companies are incurring crores of rupees, thousands of crores of rupees on such type of assets which are assumed as intangible assets. So to cover that definition, to cover that understanding, this AS has been framed. This AS is basically going to deal with what is a intangible asset, when it is to be identified as an intangible asset. There's a bit confusion on that when it is treated when an expense is treated as a revenue expense, and when it is to be capitalized as an intangible asset. So this is a bit confusion that is to be you may say removed after this AS. And simultaneously we have to understand the accounting treatment of these AS or of these intangible assets. Accounting treatment meant for very simple beta. Whenever we are going to talk about accounting treatment of the intangible assets, obviously it is very much clear. And whenever we are incurring any expense on the assets, if we are incurring any amount, now whenever we are incurring any amount, that is of two types. Either that is our revenue expense or it is our capital expense. If it is a revenue expense, it will go to profit or loss account, debited to profit or loss account. If it is a capital expense, it will be automatically capitalized and debited to asset account. So here also this thing is there only, that which expense, which amount incurred by us will be assumed as a revenue expense and which is to be assumed as a capital expense. That we have to bifurcate. This is the only basic target of this AS. So let's understand it with a step-by-step understanding. It requires an enterprise to recognize AS26 requires an enterprise to recognize an intangible asset if and only if certain criteria are met. Means you must not have to treat every expense as an expense of intangible, whatever you think. This is not the understanding of this AS. This AS made it very clear that this will be all depending upon the provisions of the AS, whether an expense which has been incurred by you for creating an intangible asset is to be treated as an intangible asset or not, because it is not as per our assumption. And whenever we have to incur any expense which we assume that it is an intangible asset, we are creating an intangible asset, or we are purchasing an intangible asset, it is very much clear we must have to give proper disclosures for that. So that is the major target of this AS. Whenever we are talking about scope of this AS, you should have to let it be very much clear that in previous AS we have covered a lot in relation to this. That will not be repeated in this. If anything is covered in previous AS which relates to your intangible assets, that will not be covered here. So if you will see that AS26 is not applicable on intangible assets held by an enterprise for sale in the ordinary course of business. Means if we are dealing in intangible assets and those intangible assets are my own business, this is my routine business. I'm dealing in intangible assets, but this is my routine business. So if I am dealing in that item, that is my ordinary item, that is my routine item, obviously that will become part of your inventories. And or second thing is it may be part of your construction contracts, because in construction contracts we have some patents. What is an intangible asset? This should be made clear to first of all. Let it be very much clear. What is the intangible asset, beta? Give me an example of intangible asset fast. I'm waiting from you. Aditi, we have to go for the next AS first of all, because you may better write to ICA that you are interested to have some to clear some doubts. So we need a session for clearing the doubts, so that ICA may allow one more session for accounting standard, so that your doubts may also be clear. Because I'm trying my best, but they have given me only 8 lectures for the purpose of covering this AS. I have already talked to them. They may give me more lectures, but this will all depends upon their wish. If you have any such requirement that you are interested to have some doubts to be cleared from the previous years, this will be all depending upon ICI, because otherwise I am unable to cover all the years within the given lectures, because obviously only two lectures are left. Today's lecture, it is our my seventh lecture. One more lecture is there, that is on Monday, and I have to complete all years, which is not practically possible. I already informed them. So all that is going on. They are trying their best. They may arrange some more lectures, so I'll continue with the AS until AS is not covered. I'll not go for the next chapters if they will not allow me. So this is all under discussion. Whatever is there, I'll help you. I'll guide you. So trademark, very good. Copyright, very good. Can you give an example of intangible asset covered under AS2? Yes, yes, beta. I'll give you example. Don't worry. Goodwill, very good. Patents, copyrights. Exactly, beta. What is intangible asset? Patents, copyright. So if anyone have any doubt in these words, please tell me. Goodwill, trademark, logo. Yes, very good, very good. License, software. Sir, are you going to take all lectures of paper 5? No, beta. Always lectures are divided into many trainers. So this will all depends upon the IC. You will get the schedule from IC BUS app. From there, you may see who will take which lecture. And if you like to go for that, you may. Technical know-how. Technical know-how. So this is also your intangible asset. There are many examples of intangible assets. Those assets will be named as intangible assets, which are which are owned by us, and which are used for future benefits. We will cover the definition also, beta. Don't worry. Intellectual property is also intangible assets. Very good, very good. Your understanding is very good, beta. Brand recognition is very good, very good. So all that is there. This is named as intangible asset. Now, intangible assets are of two types. He says one is those intangible which are to be dealt by us, which are to be traded by us. If I am going to trade for those assets, it is not my asset. It will be an inventory for me. You should have to understand, if I own a building, that building is my fixed asset. If I am a property dealer and I am trading in building, then obviously this building is an inventory for me, because it will depend upon this thing, that whether I'm trading in that item or I have retained it for my business, for my future benefits. So this varies. You will have to keep it into your mind. So if I am dealing in trademarks, how I am a person who is a consultant or working as a mediator for sale of trademark by one person to another person. If I am a person who is like, if you are interested to get a license of Microsoft, you are interested to get a license of Microsoft. Now, if you are interested to get license of Microsoft, to whom you will approach? You will approach to computer persons. They will help you to get this Microsoft software. So what it is? In that case, if I have 10 license with me, then obviously these 10 licenses are my inventory. This is not my intangible asset. This is my inventory. Students, you must have to understand this thing, that now a time the value of only degrees is not there. If you have a degree of BCom, BBA, if you have a certification, professional certification of CA, CS is there. These are not only sufficient. You must have some extra certifications with you, like you have been certified from Microsoft for computer Excel. You have been certified from Tele for accounting accounting knowledge. You have been certified from QuickBook for accounting knowledge of foreign countries like USA, Canada, Australia, like that. If you are interested to be a designer, you should be certified from Adobe. If you are interested to be a professional, proved as professional, you should be certified by IBM, by Apple, like that. So this is all the requirement of now time. So all these are intangible assets, and those person who dealt in these items are named as consultants or businessmen, just like the businessmen who are dealing in other goods. Like a businessman is dealing in in electronic goods, and a businessman who is dealing in licenses or in software or in any item which he is in which he is trading. Obviously, he is a businessman. He is a trader for the same. So in that case, whatever lies with him, that is called inventory. So I think it is clear to all of you. Now, second is deferred tax assets. This will be covered in AS 22. When we will cover AS 22, it will be understood to you. Don't worry. Leases that falls within the scope of AS 19. So already covered that lease is also intangible item, but that intangible item is already covered in AS 19. So that will not be covered here. Like I have taken a property on lease. So that is covered in AS 19. Goodwill arises on an amalgamation. We have already covered AS 14. So if goodwill arises in that, in case of purchase method, you remember the purchase method, beta? You remember the purchase method? In purchase method, we debit goodwill in case value of assets is that less than the payment to be made to the company. So difference will go to goodwill. So that we do in that AS 14. That will not be covered here. Simultaneously, goodwill arising on consolidation, that is covered in AS 21. When companies consolidate with each other, that is covered in AS 21. That is not in our syllabus. That will be covered in CA final. So that will not be covered here also. Financial assets, like an asset whose financial value is there. Mineral rights, government is giving mineral rights to extract mineral from various reserves, whatever is available with the government of India, government of obviously every state have mineral rights, and these mineral rights lies with the central government. So central government gives the right to extract that mineral from there. Either it is a oil, natural gas, non-generative resources, mineral oil. So that is not covered in AS 26. That will be covered according to their law. They have their own law. Intangible asset arising in insurance companies, enterprise from contract with policy holders. That will also not be covered here. Now, what is to be covered also applies to, which is very important. Here we are going to discuss about what is to be covered. So we are going to cover any expenditure done on advertisement, training, startup cost. So these will be covered. Research and development activities. What is research and development? Samsung company is incurring crores of rupees on research of new products, research of new techniques for the purpose of giving more and more better product to their in their electronic items. So when this is an electronic product is a tangible item, we know it very well, but its research expenditure is not a tangible item. When research is made, that is made for understanding, for finding out the technical know-how, because technical know-how is equally important. So you should have to go for technical know-how, but that technical know-how is to be arranged by doing some research, and then development stage is there. So thousands of crore rupees is incurred by Samsung company on research of these products and development activities before a product is brought to the market. As we know that Samsung mobile is there, but Samsung mobile is a technique based mobile. So whatever technique is to be developed, that is by way of research and development. So that research and development expenditure is to be treated as a intangible asset or not. That we will cover in this chapter. Then video recordings, motion pictures, like this video recording of ICI is available to you. What it is? This is a license agreement, and this is under the you may say rights of ICI also. So plays, manuscript, etc., patent, copyright, trademark. All these are covered. This is very important. Keep it into your mind that these 4 points are very important because this tells you that what will be covered in AS26 data. Copyright is basically copyright is basically an intangible asset. So if you have a copyright, if you are seeing ICI website that they have a copyright. So this copyright of either website, copyright of books, copyright of any particular item is an intangible asset. As I have authored many books till date, so I have the right. Even book is a tangible asset, but that book is not a book of papers. That book is a knowledge which is shared by me for those books. In 2005, I have authored a book on law and practice of Punjab VAT when the VAT was applied. So that has been published by Bharat Law House. Now, what it meant for in that, if I have the copyright of that book, then that book cannot be republished by Bharat Law House without my permission. And they must have to pay me royalty against that. They must have to pay me royalty against that. So all that is meant for copyright. What is trademark? Trademark meant for copyright is clear to everyone. When we author a book, then the author have a copyright, or if he have transferred that copyright or the right of publishing that book to the publisher permanently, then publisher have the copyright. No other person can republish it. Like you are getting material from ICI, that is a copyright of ICI. You can't republish it. You can't photostate it even. That is also mentioned there. But we are doing it. That is a separate issue you people are doing. Now, what is patent? If a scientist or any company have made a big research and finally get a technique of doing a work, that is a patent, which is to be. This is basically intellectual property. Intellectual property. This practical knowledge is also required. Whenever we are doing all this theoretically, this is obviously up to a limit. This is all theoretical concepts, whatever we are discussing. But when we are going to register as a patent, when you are interested to register your patent, interested to register your copyright, that is a point from where you will earn, from where you will get money, because that is a mandatory requirement. So where you will register your trademark, where you will register your copyright, where you will register your patent. These are all practical knowledge which are required always. So these are all named as intellectual property. First of all, that should be clear to you. And patent means for a person has made a research or a company has made a research and registered that research in their name. Like Haldi is a trademark of India, just assume. So how to make Haldi is a trademark of India, not that Haldi is basically a trademark of India. Instead, that patent of India, because technique of making Haldi is a copyright, is a patent of India. Technique of making a satellite is a copyright, is a patent of that particular country who has made it. Technique of making Samsung laptop is a patent of Samsung company. Technique of manufacturing or a machine manufacturing a AC by Samsung company is their technique. So their technique is patented by them. They get themselves, they get that particular technique patented in their name. If they will get that technical understanding by way of writing a proper detail, they will write a proper detail. This will be prepared by way of manuscript. Means you will write a proper detail that how this will happen, and after writing all that detail you will get that registered at your name. Once you will get that registered at their name, no one else can use it. If any other person will try to use it, you can claim him for the amount you lost due to that reason, or he has earned due to that reason. He will have to pay that amount, and in future he can't use it. So that is a patent. Goodwill, we know it very well. This is a name and brand name of our organization. And this is very much important. Self-created goodwill cannot be entered in the books of accounts. If I say that Pradeep Makkad has its own goodwill, or ICA have their own goodwill, and ICA value that goodwill and enter in their books of accounts, that is not allowed, beta. Goodwill we earn, there's no problem, but it can be entered in the books only and only if it is due to the reason of AS 14. If it exists due to the reason of AS 14, that is amalgamation, or in some other cases where we have purchased the goodwill by making some payment. Self-created goodwill cannot be entered in the books of accounts. That is the rule. Trademark. Trademark meant for what? Trademark meant for that, like Hero have their trademark. Hero, Hero. Hero is a trademark. This is not only the name, this is a trademark also. So that is registered by them by way of the name of Hero, the way they are writing, the word they are writing, all that is there. The way the way of presentation is logo, like they are writing H. So this is their logo. They can register it. Hero can be registered by way of logo, by way of designing. They can copyright it. That this is a way how we are writing it. This is a design we have made. So that design is also under copyright. In addition to that, Hero has been registered as a trademark. Trademark is a name registration, brand registration, and copyright is a technique, is a design registration that we have designed it in this way. Logo registration meant for the sign they are using. Like Toyota is using a sign. That sign is their logo. Like Mercedes is using a sign, that is their logo. So logo is also registered. So that has to be registered. License, we know it very well. I think I have made it clear, beta. Royalty is a part of copyright, beta. So royalty is our income. That is not an intangible asset in any case. Aditi, royalty we receive as an income against copyright. So if anything we receive as an income, beta, that has to be treated as a revenue income, and that will not become part of your any AS, because it will be covered in the normal way. The right which you have on those books, that it cannot be copied by any person without your interest. Exactly, beta, sir. Just like Amitabh Bachchan write a book in the movie Bhagwan. Exactly, beta. Tirupati Laddu has patent. Exactly, sir. Just like in some TV shows doesn't show the logo of Samsung and cars. No one else can show the logo of others. So that is not allowed in any case. Very good. Your knowledge is good. Good, good. Very good. So let's come to the part. So first of all, I would like to discuss with the definition. What is an asset? It's a resource controlled by an enterprise as a result of past events from which future benefits are expected to flow to the enterprise. So from where we will get future benefits, and this is an asset which is a resource for us. So this definition is specifically for, you may say, AS 26. Here we can say this is an asset which is controlled by an enterprise as a result of past events, which meant for we have made some research and development on that basis we have prepared it, and future benefits will flow to the enterprise. Monetary assets means which can be measured in terms of money, asset to be received in fixed or determinable amount of money. Monetary asset means money held and assets to be received in fixed or determinable amount of money. Non-monetary as asset other than monetary asset, which are not monetary or non-monetary. What is amortization? That means for writing off the asset, just like depreciation. It is systematic allocation of the depreciable amount of an intangible asset over its useful life. Like if we have developed an asset, intangible asset, which is worth rupees 1 crore, then we know it very well. Just like in AS 10 we have covered fixed asset, it is just like same. If its life we expect 25 years, then 1 crore is to be divided by 25 to get the amount to be amortized every year. Here the word amortized is used. There we are using the word depreciation. So not a big difference. Depreciation and amortization are one and the same thing. Just name is different. Now 25 years is a useful life. So am I assume that useful life is clear to you? 1 crore is a depreciable amount. Now, if I think that after 25 years, it can be easily sold for rupees 20 lakhs, that is the residual value. This is what residual value. So I think that 1 crore can be easily sold. This asset of 1 crore can be easily sold for rupees 20 lakh after 25 years. So depreciable amount is 1 crore minus 20 lakh. That is cost of an asset minus its residual value. That is the depreciable amount divided by 25. That is the total economic life, useful life of that asset during which an asset can be used. Yeah, one more thing is there which is good. In number of cases, the life is given by way of in CA Foundation. You have done that the life of asset is in terms of number of production of similar units expected to be obtained from the assets. Number of times it happened that the asset is worth rupees 1 crore and it will be useful for 1 lakh hours. It can work for 1 lakh hours. So 1 lakh hours is its life. Like in case of TV, we can say in case of LEDs, we can say it is measured in terms of life in terms of hours. Like in case of projector's life is also measured in terms of hours. These are not measured in terms of years. And number of machines are there whose life is depending upon the number of units to be produced from it. So that will be used as a denominator for calculating the amount to be amortized. Fair value is clear, active market is clear, where item can be easily sold by a willing buyer to the seller and prices are available to the public. Means willing buyer and knowledgeable seller is there. So they are going to trade in any item that is called an active market available for them. Now let's come to the quick reference module. Quick reference. So all these are already covered. First page of quick reference is already covered by me because that was required to be covered in detail. Due to that reason, I have gone for that because details are required in this case. Now the second page of quick reference is there. That is impairment loss. What meant for the impairment loss? Impairment loss meant for assume that book value or carrying amount of an asset in our books is rupees 10 lakh. Now, what is the market value of that asset? If that will be sold into the market, then what will be the fair value or market value as of that date? That is 8 lakh rupees. In our books, the value is 10 lakh. I agree. And its market value or fair value is 8 lakh. That means so 2 lakh is what? That is impairment loss. Because this loss is not occurred to me, but this is a loss which I will have to bear if I will sell this asset now. Whatever loss which will occur to us if we will sell an asset now, that is called impairment loss. But impairment profit cannot be entered in the books. That is on the basis of prudence concept. You should have to remember the prudence concept, conservatism approach that tells us do not anticipate gains, provide for probable losses. Whatever losses we are expecting, that we have to enter in the books of accounts now. But if we are expecting any gain, then that is not to be entered in the books of accounts now. Is that clear? This is an impairment loss beta. Amount by which carrying amount of an asset exceeds its recoverable amount. Okay. Now, arm's length price. A student has asked about arm's length price. There, if you will go into the market, if you will go into the market to purchase a laptop, what will happen with you? I doesn't know anything about the laptop. I gone there to a shop. I'm just 15 years of age, having not too much knowledge about laptops. I've gone to the market with 1 lakh rupees with me, gone to a shop, tell him I'm interested to purchase a laptop. Sir, please give me a laptop. I have money with me. I'm interested to pay and get it. Now I'm not a knowledgeable person. I'm not a knowledgeable person, but that shopkeeper is a very knowledgeable person. So in that case, what will happen? Shopkeeper will give me any item as per his own wish. He may give me a laptop which is actually costing rupees, which is actually whose market value is actually rupees 50,000 only, but he will give to me for rupees 1 lakh because I am not a knowledgeable person for that particular product. Yes, I am interested to get it, but I'm not of that knowledge. Second thing is a person has gone into the market, doesn't have any money with him, gone to a shop, tell him I'm interested to purchase a laptop. I'm interested to purchase a laptop. Now he's making bargaining for that laptop, but he doesn't have any money, and he neither have any wish to purchase that laptop today or in near future. No, in that case, it is not an arm's length price. Whatever price is fixed between these two persons. Actually, arm's length price means for first of all there must be two persons. One is seller, second one is buyer. Now, seller knows about its product. Buyer knows about its product. Whatever he is interested to take. Now, he must be a knowledgeable seller, knowledgeable and willing seller. In the same way, buyer must be a knowledgeable person and willing person, willing to purchase and also have resources to purchase. And he must have resources to sell. He's saying that I'm interested to sell it, but he doesn't have that product with him. How he can finalize the product, finalize the price? So arm's length price meant for what? Go with the definition now. So this is already made clear here. You may see here it is given that arm's length price is what? Arm's length is a transaction between knowledgeable and willing parties based on the best information available. So this is mandatory that they are knowledgeable, they are willing, and best information, whatever information is available at that level, that must be there. So this is named as impairment loss. Is a difference between carrying amount and recoverable amount. Beta, recoverable meant for fair value or market value. Obviously, one and the same thing. You are right. According to prudence, we recognize all losses, but why don't we provide for impairment losses, sir? We will provide for it. Just a wait. Just wait. Yet we are just discussing about the definition part, because first of all you must understand what it meant for, and then we will go for the concept of how it will be treated in accounting. Wait and watch. Impairment loss is clear. Control is already made clear whenever we have owned something, and an enterprise control an asset if the enterprise has the power to obtain the future economic benefits flowing from that. I think this is big. An enterprise control an asset if the enterprise has the power to obtain the future economic benefits flowing from the underlying resources and also can restrict the access of others to those benefits. Means he has the right to control. Future economic benefit is also flown from the skills of the labor and customer loyalty. But usually this flow of benefit cannot be controlled by the enterprise. Hence, these items don't qualify an intangible asset. He says that our skill of our labor is also our asset, we can say, is also in our control, but that can't be treated as an intangible asset because that can't be restricted by us, that this skill can be for us only. Skill is always for everyone. If I have a skill, I may teach you people at IC portal, I may give guidance to anyone who met me. No one can control me that you will have to just guide our students only. You will not have to speak with anyone else. You will not have to discuss anything with anyone else. No one can control anyone because it is a human tendency. Customer loyalty. Customer is loyal to you, that is good, but that customer can't be controlled by me. They can go for anyone else also. So carrying amount is already made clear. Whatever is appearing in your balance sheet, that is obviously yeah, this is very good. Someone was asking this thing, Pooja. Pooja was asking amount at which asset is recognized in the balance sheet net of any accumulated amortization, means whatever is amount is amortized out of it, that is to be reduced, and also accumulated impairment losses there. If any impairment loss is there, that is also to be reduced, but it's a carrying amount, that is cost of the asset minus amount written off minus impairment losses written off. What is financial asset? Cash, contractual right to receive cash or another financial asset from another enterprise, means which can be measured in terms of money or money. All that is a financial asset. What is future economic benefit? Obviously, that means for the revenue which will receive from that particular asset by way of using that particular asset or by way of using the name of that particular asset. It may happen that we have the name Hero. If Hero brands belongs to a person, then if they will switch off all their running business, instead they will just use the brand name Hero for the new product. Even then they will get the revenue from that particular Hero brand. So that it meant for that they can get future economic benefits from that intangible asset. It may include revenue from sale of product, cost saving, or it may be cost saving also, because in technical know obviously our cost is saved. We have developed a technique with which we can produce a product at a lower cost. What is the intangible asset? What is an intangible asset? An identifiable non-monetary asset. First of all, it must be identifiable. Point to be underlined. Any intangible asset which cannot be identifiable. Like I have paid rupee 1 crore for research, but that 1 crore is not identified by way of an asset because not any result is yet finalized. I have made a research of 1 crore of rupees, but no proper result is yet finalized. So it is not a identifiable non-monetary asset. It is without physical substance, obviously we know very well, but that have some physical substance in other way, but that is not of that value whatever the value of that intangible asset is. Like you are interested to purchase a software, you are interested to purchase a software, so how you will get that software? It may be in some CD. So that CD has a physical substance, but that CD worth rupees 10 only. But the nature and the product included in it, which is inserted in it, is of the value of lakh or crores of rupees. Due to that reason, that physical substance is not to be considered. That is just a way of transferring that item. It is in a pen drive. So pen drive is worth rupees 200 or 500 or 1000 rupees. But the software in it may worth rupees 1 lakh or 10 lakh or 50 lakh. In that case, that substance, that software will be assumed as without physical substance. That is just the way of transferring. It is the way of converting. Held for use in the production or supply of goods or services or for rental to other. Very important, beta. Very important. So it is held for production or supply of goods. So held for production, you know it very well. Supply of goods or services also known to you. For rental to other, if I have a copyright with me, if I have a patent with me, I have given that on rent to someone else, that you may use this patent for 2 years, and for that you will have to give me a fixed rental of rupees 1 lakh per month. So that is meant for rental. We can give our patent, give our copyright, give our technical know-how, give our trademark, give our brand on rent to other also. Or for administrative purpose, means it is held for use for administrative purpose. So that is one and the same thing, that is for the purpose of business use. Like whatever technique is with me, that technique is used for my business purpose. That I have written a, you may say, complete concept that how the work is to be done, or I have made some videos. Normally, I am making videos. That is my routine for practical knowledge, practical training to the students, that how they can work better in CA course, how they can work after doing CA or while doing training. So all that videos I am making. So that video is for for training purpose. In the same way, a company may make videos for training to their employees. So that is for administrative purpose. Managers have to give training to their juniors in routine. What they have done, they have made videos for those trainings, and those videos are what? These are for administrative purpose, for training purpose. So if an item is covered by AS26 doesn't meet the definition of an intangible asset, then expenditure to acquire it or generate it internally is recognized as an expense when it is incurred. Very important. Very important, beta. He's interested to tell you very clearly that you if an item covered by AS26, what is an item? Held for use in the all these things are there. It's an intangible asset. We know it very well. But this intangible asset doesn't meet the definition of an intangible asset. Means if an item is covered by AS26, that is research expense, development expenses, we have discussed now. We have discussed research expenses, development expenses, and such like expenses. So if there are such like expenses and these expenses are basically not meeting the complete criteria of intangible assets, then it will be treated as a revenue expense. Then it will be treated as a revenue expense. It will not be treated as a capital expense. It will not be entered in balance sheet. Instead, it will be entered in the profit or loss debit side. Yes, beta, yes. Harsh, I'm doing that. This is for the benefit of the community at large, because you people doesn't know the practical process of doing accounting, taxation, return filing, and you are going to chartered accountants for the purpose of getting that training. But at that time, they doesn't have time to give you that training. They are just trying to give you the work, and you have to do that work. So what I am doing, I am preparing videos for the help of the students so that they can be trained in a better way and they can do their work in a better way when they will go to a CA for articleship, or after doing CA course, they are interested to be a chartered accountant with practical knowledge. They are normally in difficulty, so I may help them. Identifiability. So identifiability is very, very, very important. You must have to keep it into your mind. Without identifiability, there is no chance that you will do the work. So identifiability is very important, beta. Means that asset can be easily identifiable. If an asset cannot be identifiable, then it cannot be treated as an intangible asset. In that case, whatever expenses you have incurred for those purposes will be treated as a revenue expense. To be identifiable, it is necessary that the intangible asset is clearly distinct from the goodwill. It cannot be merged with goodwill. Intangible asset can be clearly distinguished if the asset is separable. Means I says my name is very good, my brand is very good, my logo is there, so I am valuing my logo on the basis of that name and brand. So name and brand is basically a goodwill. It cannot be merged with here. It cannot be merged with that particular logo that he is interested to say. Like beta, you must have to understand this thing. My trademark is there. IC have their own trademark. Now IC trademark have its own value. IC logo has its own value. IC goodwill is something different. But normally they are merged with each other. Why? How? It is really difficult to identify each and everyone separately because they are normally correlated with each. They are normally, you may say, mixed with each other. So he says, preferably you should have to identify each and everything separately. And that can be done only if the asset is separable. If an asset is separable, if it can be rented, sell, exchange, or distributed, the specific benefit attributable to the asset without disposing of future economic benefit that flow from other assets used in the same revenue. Means ICI may give their trademark to someone else. If ICI may give their trademark to someone else without giving ICI logo, without transferring their goodwill. If it is possible, then we will assume that it is a separable asset, which is not practically possible. You know it very well. If a brand name Hero is there, now could Hero give their name to someone else without transferring their goodwill? Obviously, their goodwill will also transfer in that case. So the person who is getting the name may also use the goodwill of their company, logo of their company. So he says an asset will be treated separately only and only if it can be identified separately. If it can be separated from the other asset and it can be given on rent. It can be given on rent, or we can sell it, or exchange or distribute it to the someone else. And with that, the effect must not be on the other assets. In Hindi, I would like to explain now. बेटा एसेट को आइडेंटिफाई करने का बड़ा सिंपल मतलब है कि अगर ये एसेट दूसरे एसेट को इफेक्ट नहीं करता, अगर हम इस एसेट को किसी को रेंट पे देते हैं, सेल कर देते हैं, बेच देते हैं, या इसको एक्सचेंज करते हैं या डिस्ट्रीब्यूट कर देते हैं, इसके जो स्पेसिफिक फ्यूचर इकोनॉमिक बेनिफिट है जो भी इससे में मिल रहे हैं, और उससे दूसरे एसेट के इकोनॉमिक बेनिफिट्स पे कोई इफेक्ट नहीं पड़ता. जैसे आई हैव सीन somewhere that Hero has given their name to someone for the purpose of running institutes. So in that case, they have transferred they have given their name to them, but that doesn't affected their own business. That doesn't affected their main business because they have given it for some other purpose. because Hero is in the automotives line. So in automotive, they have not given to anyone. Instead, they have given it to someone else for the in property business. You may say they are manufacturing flats with the name of Hero Homes. Hero Homes. In that case, we can say that the future economic benefit of their Hero Automotive is not going to reduce. So in that case, it can be assumed as separate. It can be identified as separate. In that case, Hero brand can be assumed as a separate. If this trademark can be used by someone else. So in that way, we may do. It is really difficult to do that, but just is given, so we are discussing it. But it is practically not feasible. If an asset is acquired separately, if an asset is acquired separately, then obviously it can be measured reliably. Asset can be measured reliably because its cost can be measured reliably if we have acquired it from someone else or we have purchased it from someone. Cost of an intangible asset, it's now what is the cost price? That should be known to everyone. Whenever we are talking about AS10, what means for AS10? In that case, what is the cost of the fixed asset? Cost of the fixed asset include purchase price of that asset. Remember, ES10 as well as your basic accounting concept, which tells you that whenever we are acquiring any asset, whatever expenses we have incurred for purchasing that asset, any taxes paid on that which can't be recovered later on, and any expenses which are incurred for its acquisition and to make it ready to use will be assumed as its cost. Means if we have purchased a technical know-how from someone and paid rupees 10 crore to him as a purchase price, plus the consultant who helped me to acquire that particular technical know-how will be paid a commission of 50 lakhs, plus I have to pay GST of 18%, that is 1 crore 80 lakh on it, out of which we can easily recover 1 crore 80 lakh. Means everything will be refundable to me because that can be easily adjusted in my general business. So that is to be deducted. Plus, for acquiring that technical know-how, I have given this duty to a team of persons whose salary is approximately 10 lakh rupees during which has been paid to them during that period when this technical know-how has been finalized by them. This is an agreement which is finalized by them. For that they have made a study, they have made various meetings, whatever they have done, and on that 10 lakh rupees salary is paid to them and other expenses are attributable for going there to meet for meeting expenses, and other expenses are approximately 2 lakh, because in that case conveyance expenses are there and many other expenses are there. And finally this technical know-how comes to our hands. Now we have to make it ready to use. Ready to use means for we have to make some sample working or anything, and we have to incur rupees 1 lakh for that particular purpose to make it ready to use. That is also to be added. So all this will become the cost of that particular item. All this will become, this is all added. Means 10 lakh plus 50 lakh plus 1 lakh 80,000 plus 1 lakh minus 1 lakh 80,000 plus 10 lakh plus 2 lakh. I would like here try to like I would like to write here 10 crore plus 50 lakh plus 180 minus 180 will become 0, plus 10 lakh salaries paid plus 2 lakh conveyance expenses for meetings plus 1 lakh other expenses to make it ready to use. All that will be added to get the total cost. So this will be what? This will be the total cost of that particular asset. Assumes everything is clear. So if he says that we have acquired this asset in exchange of some other assets or securities, then asset is recorded at which value? Then it will be recorded at its fair value or the fair value of the security issued, whichever is more clearly evident. So this has been read by me earlier also. I have seen that somewhere else also. You may think that I have a house. No, here no house will be taken. Yeah, I have taken a trademark from someone. That trademark is acquired by me of a company against which I have given him a building, land and building. I have given him land and building. Now I would like to check it out. What is the value of this trademark? Now it is really difficult to get the value of that trademark, but it has been finalized that I'll give him land and building. I know it very well. This market value of this land and building is rupees 100 crores. Against that, I get this trademark. So the value of this trademark will be recorded in the books for rupees 100 crore, which is more clearly evident. I've issued some shares of my company against which I got the trademark or the logo or the technical know-how. In that case, you will have to check the value of your particular trademark which you have acquired and value of shares which you have issued. What is the fair value of the share? Whichever is more clearly evident will be taken as a base for valuation of that particular intangible asset. Acquisition as a part of an amalgamation. Good thing. As already discussed, it will be treated according to AS 14. And in AS 14, what we have discussed, that we have to make an entry asset account debit to liabilities to amount payable to transferee, amount payable to transferor. Whatever is the balance sheet figure that will be transferred to goodwill or capital reserve. So that it meant for. If we have acquired assets worth rupees 100 crores, asset worth rupees 100 crores and liabilities worth rupees 20 crores, with that I have paid him 90 crores. I have paid. So 90 plus 20, 110. Out of that, 100 crore will be deducted and 10 crore will be the amount of goodwill. So this is a discussion which has been already done in amalgamation AS 14 beta. Now, this is very much important. In this case, it is to be kept into mind. Even goodwill is not recorded by the transferor company in his books of accounts, but as we have acquired it and the balance sheet figure comes as a goodwill, we can enter it in our books of accounts. Even in transfers books, this was not there, but we can enter it. If the cost of an asset acquired as a part of amalgamation. So this is also good that we have acquired some intangible asset, but from the transferor company in amalgamation, but that cannot be recognized separately. In that case, automatically it will result into a balance sheet figure because you may assume that I have acquired a trademark also. Like I have acquired a company named like Hero is acquired by another company. Hero is acquired by another company, and in that case, when it is acquired by another company, obviously trademark will come, logo will come, all that will come. Now we are unable to find the value of trademark logo. Instead, what we will do in that case, we will have to calculate goodwill as a balance sheet figure. So automatically this trademark and logo, etc., their value will be automatically adjusted in goodwill. We may assume because it cannot be valued separately. That it meant for. So have a break. After then we will meet. Separate acquisition is not clear. Separate acquisition meant for beta. Chalo, we will take the problem after break because already 8:30 is there. So otherwise we will have very less time for the break. Hitesh, your and Harsh, your query will be taken after the break. Ashokji, we may go for the break. Welcome back, beta. So let's restart with the same where we have left earlier. We have left with some doubts to you in your mind. The doubt was there. Advertisement cost also included in ready to use. Advertisement cost doesn't understood what means for the advertisement cost. Hitesh, in this, how you will incur that advertisement cost? In relation to a product, there is no chance of any advertisement cost, so it will not become part of that. Separate acquisition is not clear. Okay, separate acquisition meant for. I would like to let you be clear in Hindi also. Maybe in English it is not clear to Harsh. Harsh, let's understand this thing, बेटा कि जब हम लोग कोई एसेट मार्केट से खरीदने जाते हैं तो वहां पर क्या होता है कि कई बार हमें एक आइटम के साथ दूसरी आइटम मिल जाती है. तो अगर दूसरी आइटम जो है उसकी वैल्यूएशन अलग से हो सकती है, फिर तो हम उसके प्राइस को अलग से कंसिडर करके उसको बुक्स में अलग से रिकॉर्ड कर लेते हैं. बट कई बार जो आइटम साथ में मिल रही है और जो आइटम जिसके साथ वो मिली है उन दोनों को अलग अलग नहीं किया जा सकता, उनकी कोस्ट को अलग अलग कंसिडर नहीं किया जा सकता. इन दैट केस हम लोग उसको फिर नॉमिनल कोस्ट को एक पे रिकॉर्ड कर लेंगे, दूसरे को एक्चुअल कोस्ट पे रिकॉर्ड कर लेंगे. ये एक रूटीन रहती है. यहाँ पर क्या है कि मैंने किसी कंपनी से उसका कंप्लीट बिजनेस एक्वायर कर लिया, उससे मैंने उसकी गुडविल भी ले ली, ट्रेडमार्क भी खरीद लिया, लोगो भी परचेज कर लिया, सब कुछ ले लिया, पेटेंट्स भी ले लिए. अब उस केस में क्या है कि जो उसकी गुडविल है, ट्रेडमार्क है और जो लोगो है, अब तीनों की अलग अलग कोस्ट को कैलकुलेट करना पॉसिबल नहीं होता. बिकॉज जो उसका ब्रांड नेम है, जो उसकी गुडविल है और जो उसकी लोगो की वैल्यू है या उसकी जो ट्रेडमार्क की वैल्यू है, जिसका हम नाम की ब्रांड की बात नेम की बात कर रहे हैं, वो नॉर्मली आपस में मिक्स हो जाती है. तो उस केस में अगर हम उसको सेपरेटली आइडेंटिफाई नहीं कर पा रहे तो उसे गुडविल में ही एडजस्ट कर लेंगे. सो ये वो कहना चाहता है, नथिंग एल्स. आई थिंक इट इज क्लियर नाउ. सो if we are acquiring any asset as free of cost, now when we will asset and acquire free of cost, it may happen due to the reason of any particular purpose, any particular in any particular case there may be any chance कि we acquire an asset free of cost. So in that case obviously it will not be considered as to be entered at its market value. It is to be considered at the price at which it is acquired. If it is acquired free of cost, it will be considered at rupees 100, like nominal value. Nominal value means for 100 rupees or 500 rupees or 1 rupee, like that. So it will be entered at for normal consideration. Now it may happen that I have acquired an asset for rupees 10 lakhs, but government tell me if you will acquire this asset, you will be given it free of cost. We will be provided grant equivalent to the 100% of your cost. Then that may happen also. I would like to take an example for that. Government says if you will start work in Baddi, few years back, this was the concept. If you will start work in Baddi, then whatever work you will start there, government will pay you 50% of your capital expenditure. So if I have paid something for intangible assets, I have paid 100 crore for intangible asset. So government has given me the grant of 50 crores for the same. So in that case, I will have to record my asset for rupees 50 crore only. Government says if you will go for the solar project, then we will pay you 100% of that. So in that case, obviously what will happen? But that will be paid in installments. That is 10% will be paid each year. So what I have to do? I have to treat it accordingly. This all will happen. Basically, this is a normal thing that number of times government gives us grant for purchasing any asset. It may be in case of intangible assets also. So we'll have to record it at rupees 100. Sorry, didn't find you. Okay, next. This is a very good thing. Already discussed, internally generated goodwill is not recognized as an asset because it is not an identifiable resource and controlled by the enter that can measure reliably at cost. So goodwill, internally generated goodwill means ICI cannot enter their goodwill in their books of account. Hero cannot enter their goodwill in their books of accounts. Airtel cannot enter their goodwill in their books of account. Reliance cannot enter their goodwill in their books until unless they have purchased it. Let it be very much clear. But other intangible assets, other intangible, except goodwill, if you have generated other intangible assets that can be recognized in the books of accounts, but there must be a special criteria for that. Let's understand that criteria. How to recognize that? The criteria is, first of all, you have two phases for that. First is the research phase, second one is the development phase. Every intangible asset may go for these two stages because these are internally generated goodwill, intangible assets. These are not here purchased, but if you have purchased any intangible asset from someone, that will be entered in the books immediately. There's no problem as an asset. There's no problem. But if you have not purchased it, instead you have developed it yourself. So that have two stages. One is the research stage when you are planning for that, when you are doing research on it, and second stage is when it comes into the existence and we just check its further development stages. So there are two parts for that. One is research, second is development stage. If the enterprise cannot distinguish the research phase from the development, to create an intangible, the enterprise treat the expenditure as if they are incurred in research phase. Let it be very much clear, very important. In exam, you will get this point. You will have to give answer on this query. There may be such type of cases there that we have incurred 1 crore rupees on research and development, and we are unable to identify what will be the research expense and what will be the development expense. Then in that case, it will be assumed as a research expense only. It will not be bifurcated. It will not be treated as a development expense. Let it be very much clear. What is research phase? It meant for the phase when it is original and planned investigation undertaken with the prospect of gaining new scientific or technical knowledge and understanding. Means no asset has come into the existence. Instead, we are working on it. Research should be original and planned investigation. So there must be proper documentation for it that we are interested to work on this particular project. We are interested to discover this. We are interested to create this thing, and research is going on that. For that, whatever expenses are incurred, that must be documented properly. Now, no intangible asset arising from research or from the research phase should be recognized. So research phase expenses will always be assumed as a no intangible asset arising from research or from the research phase should be recognized. So that it means for that no asset has been come into existence. Until then, whatever expenses are incurred on research will be assumed as a revenue expense and entered in the profit or loss account development debit side. That's very simple. Development phase meant for the phase whenever research is completed and whatever the findings are there, whatever the result is there, or whatever the knowledge to a plan or design for the production of new or substantially improved material, devices, products, processes, systems, or services prior to the commencement of commercial production is the application of research findings. Here we are applying the findings, the knowledge we got, knowledge to a plan or design for the production of new or substantially improved material. Means the work has been started. and we are working on the further improvement of that particular product has come into the existence, asset has come into the existence, but that asset is going to be developed further. So that development phase meant for, we have already nano car with us, nano technology has been finalized. Now what we have to do is we have to make more working on it. Development is the application of research findings or other knowledge to a plan or design for the development of new or substantially improved material or devices, product processes to the commencement of commercial production. Means we are interested to start its commercial production. For that purpose, we are going into the development phase. We are developing it more and more. That is the point which is to be kept into mind. Let's understand what meant for it in detail. Yeah, an intangible assets arising from development should be recognized if and only if an enterprise can demonstrate all of the following. So these are the mandatory things. You must have to demonstrate it. You must have to prove it. What do you have to prove? Technical feasibility of completing the intangible asset so that it will be available for. Means we can prove that we will complete this intangible asset. Technical feasibility of completing the intangible asset. Technically, it is feasible so that it will be available for use or sale. Means it will be used by us or it will be sold by us, but it is technically feasible. Feasibility, technical feasibility study is basically meant for technically feasible. Feasible means for it is possible that we can do it. If it is not possible yet, then it will not be treated as a intangible asset. It will not be capitalized. As when it will go into the development stage, we have to capitalize it in our books of accounts. And before capitalizing, you must have to prove its technical feasibility. And our intention to complete the intangible asset, its use and sell it. Means we will complete it. If we have developed a product, but we are not intentional to complete it or to use it or to sell it, then it will not be entered in the books. Its ability to use or sell the intangible asset means our ability. We doesn't have money with us. We doesn't have further money with us, but we have developed a product. So that can't be entered in the books of accounts because we are not feasible to do that. We are not able to do that. Or our organization is not going to use that. Means in case of use also, it can be used only and only if it is practically possible that the management is agreed and we are able to use it. If we are not able to use it, it will not be entered in the books of accounts as it in the development stage. And whatever the technique, whatever the finance required to complete its development stage is available with us. And finally, which is very important, we are able to measure the expenditure incurred on its development stage. We are able to measure that. If we are not able to measure that, obviously there is no use of doing all that. Let's understand this thing now. Assume Apple company has developed a new technique in which your mobile phone will himself identify that this call is beneficial for us or not. Apple company have developed it. Assume कर रहे हैं हम लोग. We are assuming it. Apple company have developed a technique, has made a research on it and developed a technique in which a call will be picked by the mobile company itself. Your mobile will pick up your call. Your phone will pick up your call. Talk with that person as a robust and understand whether this phone is usable for, whether this call is usable for you or not. And if he find it usable, he will again that call will ring. Otherwise, that call will not ring at all. Understand my point? A technique is going to be developed that whenever a call will receive to you, you will not receive any message. Instead, automatically call will be picked and robust will talk to the person. Yes, tell me why you have called me. He will tell the answer. And if robust will find it usable that this call will be beneficial for you, only then your call will ring. Otherwise, call will not ring. So this will have two stages. One is the research stage, that how it will happen. Now they have made a technique that this can be possible, and they have already developed research, made a research on it, and technical understanding, technical knowledge is also collected. But now this will go into the next stage. Next stage is what? That is, they will apply it at various places. After research, the technique has come into the existence. Technique is okay. But whether this technique will be beneficial for the company, beneficial for the human being, that is not finalized. So after that, this technique is finalized that this will be beneficial for the human tendency. So if it is beneficial for the human tendency, this will also be a research expenses. Now this will be finalized that company is interested to work on it. Now company is interested to apply it. So for applying it, company has started its development stage. That is called development stage. Now company has started developing it more at a more better level. Now this technique is finalized that company is interested to do it. That everyone who will receive the call, they will be given a facility that their call will be picked by a robust, and robust will give the answer and check it out whether that call is useful for me or not. If it found useful, it will again ring the mobile phone and I'll pick up that phone. So this has been finalized. Now company is financially feasible to do that. Technically, this is feasible. Law allows it. All things are done. Now they are developing it at a more better level. That who will communicate on behalf of robust? What will be the language for that? Whether a girl will speak, a boy will speak. All that. That is a development stage. So that development stage meant for in which technically we are going to prove apply it, financially capable, measurement is possible in terms of money, whatever expenditure we are incurring in development stage, only then it will be assumed that it is in development stage. For whatever expenditure we incur on this, whether generating brand, publishing titles, customer list and item, whatever it is, so these will be added in that. So these will be expenditure on internally generated brand, publishing titles, customer list, and item similar in substance cannot be distinguished from the cost of developing the business as a whole. Therefore, such items are not recognized as an intangible asset. Oh, these are some items which are not to be considered as like advertisement expenses, we can say, and publishing expenses, customers list, or some minor expenses which are unable to be identified separately will not be entered. Now, what is the cost that has already been discussed? Whatever expenses we will incur on it, starting from its expenditure on material and services used or consumed, salaries, wages, and other, that has been taken by way of an example by me. So I have already discussed by way of an example. All the expenses will be added. Some expenses will not be added. That is given here. Selling and administrative expenses or other overhead expenses, unless they can be directly attributable. If these expenses can be directly attributable, that will be added. If they cannot be directly attributable to the cost of the item, then it will not be added. Expenditure on training the staff and to operate the asset will not be added. Clearly identified inefficiencies and initial operating losses incurred before an asset. Clearly identified inefficiencies and initial operating losses incurred before an asset achieves its planned performance. Whatever expenses are incurred, that will not be added. I think each and every word is clear. Concept is clear. Don't take it too much seriously. It will be very simple and easy that whenever we have to recognize the value of an asset, That will be from development stage only. Research expenses will be entered in profit or loss account debit side. Development expenses will be assumed as an expense for formation of an asset. Whatever expenses we incur for formation of an asset, that will start from the day when we have started its development. Whatever expenses we have incurred from that day to the day until and unless it is ready to use, all expenses will be added in it. That will become the total cost of that particular intangible asset. Now, expenses on an intangible item should be recognized as an expense when it is incurred. He says, if we are not able to identify that this expense related to a intangible asset, that will be entered as an expense. When it will be entered as a cost of the asset, it forms part of the cost of an intangible asset that meets the recognition criteria. So, intangible asset must be recognized first of all. If it is a recognizable intangible asset, obviously its expenses will be added to it. The item is acquired in an amalgamation in the nature of purchase and cannot be recognized as an intangible asset. Unless the item is recognized in an amalgamation in the nature of purchase. See, here it is. Maybe it was not clear from there. So I have taken this from the detailed information. Recognition of an expense. When it will be recognized as an expense, unless expenditure on an intangible asset should be recognized as an expense, means it will be added debited to profit or loss account when it is incurred, unless means it will be entered as an expense that is in the profit or loss account immediately, except in case it form part of the cost of an intangible asset that meets the recognition criteria. So recognition criteria is to be met, that is mandatory. The item is acquired in an amalgamation and cannot be recognized as an intangible asset. It forms part of the amount attributable to goodwill at the date of acquisition. That means for that item is recognized acquired in amalgamation. That item is acquired in an amalgamation in the nature of purchase and cannot be recognized as an intangible asset. It is not possible to recognize as an intangible asset. In that case, it will automatically become part of that particular goodwill or capital reserve, whatever is acquired at the date of acquisition. So that it meant for expenditure is incurred to provide future economic benefits to an enterprise, but no intangible asset or other asset is acquired or created that can be recognized. So all that is there. We are going to take some example. Which expense is treated as an expense when it is incurred? It includes expenditure on startup activities. Startup activity means we have started a new project. On that, whatever expenses are incurred by us, that will be treated as a revenue expense. Startup cost may consist of preliminary expenses incurred in establishing a legal entity, such as legal and secretarial cost, etc. So all that will be there. Expenditure on training activities will also be assumed as a revenue expense and immediately entered in profit or loss account. On advertisement and promotion purpose, on relocation or reorganizing purpose. So all these will be recognized as an expense as they cannot be reclassified as cost of intangible asset later on. Even once it is recognized as an expense, it cannot be reclassified later on. So all that is there. Just trying to clear you each and everything, but in some cases we will have not to be, we are not able to understand this thing. So in that case, what you will do, you will see the examples. Whatever the examples are there, we will discuss those examples. With that, you will better understand each and everything. So whatever expenses are incurred at the planning stage, whenever we plan to make a product, whenever we plan to make a research, all that expenses are incurred will be assumed as a revenue expense and debited to profit and loss account. And then application and infrastructure development means we are incurring expenses for development of an infrastructure for that purpose. Whatever research we have to do, for that we have to construct a building, we have to arrange some machineries, we have to arrange some structure for that. Whatever expenses are incurred for that, that will be covered under AS10, because that will obviously become our fixed asset. You know it very well, building etc will be our fixed asset. So he says whatever infrastructural development is made for the purpose of that particular working, whatever we are interested to do, all that will be a capital expense and treated in according to AS10. Graphic design and content development. So in that case, if the asset is not identifiable, then it will be entered as a revenue expense and debited to profit or loss account. If a asset is identifiable, when this graphic design is made, content development is made, if asset is already identifiable, then this will be covered under capital expenditure and debited to that particular intangible asset. Then we have to operate on it. Now, operation is done only for that particular operation meant for we are operating it. So expenditure when incurred, unless in rare circumstance it meets the criteria, in which case the expenditure is included in the cost of the website. Expense when incurred, that means for it will be debited to profit or loss account, debit side. Whenever any operating expenses are incurred, we know it very well, all operating expenses are always debited to profit or loss account because these are operating expenses, except in case the expenditure is incurred in the cost of the website. In rare cases, we have been given a time that for 6 months, it will be in a demo period. So if it will be on a checking period or in demo period for 6 months, like in development stage, what we are doing, we are developing our product by giving it to public or by operating it in the market. And for that period, it will be assumed as a capital expenditure and added in the cost of that particular product because we are running on demo period. Like there's a company named ClearTax. What they have done for filing income tax returns, they have done one thing. First of all, they have gone for a research phase. During research phase, they have checked it whether it will be feasible to prepare a software for income tax return filing. That has been finalized, whatever expenses are incurred, and then they have made a research on technical know-how to find the technical know-how for that. All that will be a research expenses. Once it is finalized and they have made a website for the same. Now this website has been made, cleartax.com. But this website, they assumes that when they will file the return, when public will file the return on it, there may be a chance that this may suffer from certain abnormalities. There may be some problems to the public because software is not 100% okay. It must have to go for some checking. So for that purpose, they have entered into a development stage. For many years, approximately 2 to 3 years, they have gone for the development stage in which any professional may go and file return on ClearTax software free of cost. No payment will be charged from it. So professionals gone there and filed income tax returns from there. It will be comparatively easy to file return from ClearTax in comparison to the income tax return filing from the government software. So professionals go there and file income tax returns on that. But there are a number of problems which comes to them, and those problems are informed to the ClearTax company by them, and ClearTax company make improvements accordingly. And this process goes on for 2 or 3 years. Finally, when they come to know that our product is 100% okay, they have started charging from the professionals. So for that 2 or 3 years of period, this is under development stage. Whatever expenses are incurred during that period for operating that, for running that, all that will be assumed as a development expense because this is a part of the development and it will be capitalized. Otherwise, it is normally assumed as a revenue expense. I think this is clear. If any doubt is there, obviously, when we will do some illustrations, it will be clear. Advertisement include cost is not included in ready to use. Separate acquisition meant for we have purchased the asset separately. Means when we have purchased the asset, the price is fixed for each and every asset separately. So that is called separate acquisition. Sir, I didn't find you on YouTube. No matter बेटा YouTube पे तो क्या find करना है मुझे आपने? If this technique is developed, then it will be a solution to many distractions. Just try to concentrate on your studies, Harsh. It's better. I didn't find on YouTube. Harsh, leave that matter. If this technique is developed, then it will be a solution to many distractions. If this technique, it will be a solution to many distractions. Exactly. Why should the expenditure on startup activities be treated as expense and not as a cost of intangible asset? Because yet business is not started properly. It's just a startup activity. Assume everything is clear. Yeah. Any subsequent expenditure incurred after acquiring an intangible asset will become part of the cost of that asset. Once it is purchased, it should be recognized as an expense when it is incurred unless it is probable that expenditure will enable the asset to generate future economic benefits in excess of its. Like we have purchased the software. Now we have purchased the software. After purchasing the software, any expenditure incurred for running that software will be a revenue expense, except in case this can be measured and attributable to the asset reliably, means this expense is incurred for development of that software further. Means I have purchased the software and any expenditure incurred for its development and training to the for its development, if it is separately attributable to that and it will give us the future economic benefits in excess of its originally assessed standard of performance, only then it will be added. Otherwise, we know it very well, once an asset is ready to use, all expenses incurred after its becoming to ready to use will be assumed as a revenue expense. So we will treat it as a revenue expense, except those expenses which are incurred for further for that purpose that its further future benefits will increase. Okay. Now, once recognized, an asset should be carried at its cost less any accumulated amortization and impairment losses that we have discussed. Now, depreciable amount of an intangible asset should be allocated on a systematic basis over the best estimated useful life. Normally, it is normally it is 10 years if nothing is mentioned. AS 26 adopts a presumption that the useful life of an intangible asset is unlikely to exceed 10 years. Well, we assume that it may be 10 years, but it may be more than 10 years also if it is certainly feasible, if it is possible. Otherwise, if nothing is mentioned, we may treat it as 10 years as the life of an asset. Means if an intangible asset is acquired for rupees 10 lakh, then we may write it off within the period of 10 years. 10 lakh divided by 10. That's it. Amortization method is already clear. Residual value is already clear. Yeah. Review of amortization period and amortization method. Number of times after an experience of 3 years, we come to know that its benefits will arise for next 2 years only. Earlier, we have assumed that its life is 10 years. But after 3 years, we assume that the life is just 2 years more, not more than that. When we have acquired the asset, we assume that it is 10 lakh and the life is 10 years. Accordingly, we are writing it 1 lakh. We are writing it off as 1 lakh per annum. Later on, after 3 years, when its value left rupees 7 lakh, we come to know that its life is 2 years more only. So in that case, we will write it off as 7 lakh divided by 2, that is 3.5 lakh per annum. This is change in accounting estimate and it will be treated as per AS5. As we know that we have already discussed in AS. So it is not another thing. If there has been significant change, the amortization method should be changed to reflect the changed pattern. You need not to worry. It will be a simple case in that case. We have already done it earlier also. Next, retirement and disposal. When an asset is assumed that this is not now this is not usable for us, it is retired now, so it will be eliminated. Asset should be de-recognized or eliminated from the balance sheet. If it is disposed of, obviously, if the asset is sold off, it will not be entered in the books of account. Or when we think that no future benefits will come from this particular asset, we will retire it from the balance sheet. We will write it off in the balance sheet. Whatever balance as on that date will be written off. Assume an asset is acquired for rupees 10 lakh by us. We are writing it off in 10 years and writing it off as 1 lakh per annum. After 8 years, its value is only 2 lakh in my books of accounts. Only 2 lakh in my books of accounts and having 2 years as life. But I think no future benefit will come from it now. So I will write it off as 2 lakh in the same year, in 9th year, and close it from my books of, de-recognize it from my books of account. So in 2 life, AS26 will apply. Not clear what you are interested to ask? Ajay, write it down again in detail, whatever you are interested to ask. So whatever the gain or loss that you will get from that particular asset, whatever gain or loss you suffer from that disposal or retirement of that asset will be recognized as an expense or an income in profit or loss account as normal. It will be debited or credited to profit or loss account as normal. Whatever profit or loss, whatever gain or loss you suffer. So whatever disclosure is required, we know it very well. Normal disclosures are there. If an asset is amortized for more than 10 years, the reason is to be disclosed. A description, the carrying amount and remaining amortization period of every asset is to be disclosed. Existence and carrying amount of intangible asset, amount of commitment of acquisition of intangible asset is to be shown. Yeah, more disclosures are required. That is given here. Financial statement should disclose each class of intangible asset, distinguishing between internally generated and other intangible assets. So we must have to disclose that whatever internally generated assets, those are to be shown separately, and whatever we have purchased from somewhere, that has to be disclosed separately. And in every case, you have to disclose their useful life, whatever it is, whatever addition is made during the year, that is to be shown, whatever method is used, that is to be shown, whatever gross carrying amount is there, that is to be shown. At the beginning and at the end of the period. Reconciliation of the carrying amount at the beginning and at the end, showing that is just like fixed asset. As we know that in case of fixed asset, what we are showing, that what is the opening balance of our assets plus additions made during the year, less any retirement or disposal during the year, less any impairment loss which we have suffered during the year, or impairment gain we have when impairment losses reversed in the statement of profit loss. Impairment loss. This I would like to let you clear because number of students may ask this query. It is an anticipated gain. Why we are entering it in our books of accounts? Beta, let's clear this. That I have an asset for rupees 10 lakh in my books of accounts. This is a carrying amount. I have checked its market value or the recoverable amount. It is 8 lakh. So 2 lakh is my impairment loss, which is to be entered in the books of accounts by debiting to P&L account. So I have debited it later on. Later on, after 3 years, the asset is worth rupees 5 lakh in my books of accounts, and its recoverable amount is 8 lakh. Its recoverable amount is 8 lakh. That means for there is a profit of rupees 3 lakh. Now, whether it is to be shown at that particular 8 lakh or 5 lakh, obviously we can't anticipate gains, but whatever loss we have already entered, that is 2 lakh, that can be reversed. So out of this 3 lakh, we will have to reverse loss of 2 lakh. That is, our asset will be shown at 5 lakh plus 2 lakh. That is the impairment loss. Earlier written off, now reversed. We have to write off that loss because that loss was only when it was actually there. Later on, if it is recovered, its value has been increased, then that loss will be reversed. So that it meant for. But that 1 lakh extra loss cannot be entered in the books of accounts now. Now, there is an asset worth rupees 10 lakh as a carrying amount. And we find that its market value is 12 lakh, its carrying amount is 12 lakh. So whether this profit of rupees 2 lakh can be entered in the books of accounts as impairment gain. No, it cannot be entered. But if earlier any loss has been treated in relation to that particular asset, that can be reversed only up to the amount that loss is entered in the books of accounts by us, not more than that. Is that clear to everyone? Just tell me. So whatever amortization recognized during the period, other changes in the carrying amount during the period. So I assume everything is clear in relation to this. Yes. Next is we have to do AS22 tomorrow. Tomorrow means Monday. So you must have to read AS22 at your home so that it can be done very seriously and in a conceptual way. One more thing I would like to discuss with you that I am going to discuss. Just wait. Yeah, test your knowledge. It is given on 1.152. See beta, everyone must check. Test your knowledge. MCQs are given to you, multiple choice questions. This is mixed questions as many as you have already done. I suggest you to do as much question as possible because this is a practice question. These are the practical questions given to you, given on 1.152 onwards. Page number 1.152 onwards. These are Yeah. After then, they have given you practical questions from 1.155 page. So these practical questions are very good also. You must have to do all these questions because Sunday is there. Tomorrow you may do that. Do more and more questions. These are, and solution is also given for every question. You must have to see the question, do it yourself, and check it, compare it with the answer, whatever is given to you, so you can check it out. Whatever is error, whatever is your doubt, whatever is your problem, you may better understand it. Yeah, very good. So these are very good questions given to you. I assume you will do all the questions for better understanding, for getting more marks into your exams. Illustration in Hindi. Okay, बेटा हिंदी में बता देते हैं. I would like to explain an illustration in Hindi. A student have asked me कि बेटा अगर हमारे पास इम्पेयरमेंट लॉस हो रहा है तो उसको तो बुक्स में इमीडिएटली डाल लेना है आपने. अगर इम्पेयरमेंट गेन हो रहा है तो नहीं डालना, इसे नहीं डालना. बट इन केस आपको कोई इम्पेयरमेंट लॉस पहले हो चुका है और आपने पहले बुक्स में डेबिट किया हुआ है, तो बाद में अगर कोई गेन होता है तो जितना लॉस आप डेबिट कर चुके हो उतना आप गेन क्रेडिट कर सकते हो, नॉट मोर देन दैट. दैट इट मीन्स फॉर. मैंने इसीलिए इलस्ट्रेशन ली थी कि अगर हमारे पास 10 लाख की कैरिंग अमाउंट है 2019-20 में एक पर्टिकुलर एसेट की, और उसकी जो कैरिंग अमाउंट, उसकी जो आपकी रिकवरेबल अमाउंट है वो 8 लाख है, तो आपको इंपेयरमेंट लॉस कितने का हो गया? 2 लाख का. तो इसको आप डेबिट कर लोगे प्रॉफिट लॉस अकाउंट में. उसके बाद 2020-21 में हमने देखा कि जो हमारी 8 लाख का कैरिंग अमाउंट है बुक्स में, बिकॉज इंपेयरमेंट लॉस 2 लाख में डाल चुका हूं. 8 लाख में से मैंने कुछ राइट ऑफ भी किया होगा, मान लो मैंने 1 लाख राइट ऑफ वैसे भी कर दिया जो हम अमोटाइज करते हैं हर साल, तो 7 लाख इसकी वैल्यू है. इसकी जो रिकवरेबल अमाउंट है वो 6 लाख है, तो 1 लाख का फर्दर मुझे इंपेयरमेंट लॉस हो रहा है, उसे भी मैं डेबिट कर दूंगा प्रॉफिट लॉस अकाउंट में. इन एडिशन टू दिस 1 लाख, ये तो डेबिट करना ही है, ये भी कर दूंगा. 21-22 में मैंने देखा कि मेरा जो 6 लाख का एसेट में बुक्स में डाल के चल रहा हूँ, ये भी 6 में से 1 लाख और माइनस हो गया है. अब 5 लाख का जो मेरे पास एसेट है बुक्स में, क्योंकि 6 में से मैंने 1 लाख रुपीज एमोटाइजेशन भी तो माइनस करनी है इस साल की, वो भी मैंने कर दी. अब 5 लाख रुपीज का मेरा एसेट है, ये रियल में मार्केट में 7 लाख का है. अब गेन हो रहा है इंपेयरमेंट गेन, तो कितने का गेन हो रहा है? 2 लाख का गेन हो रहा है. तो ये 2 लाख का गेन मैं क्रेडिट कर सकता हूँ P&L में, क्योंकि मैं ऑलरेडी 2 + 1 3 लाख का लॉस बुक्स में डाल चुका हूं. तो अप टू 3 लाख तक मैं इसको रिवर्स कर सकता हूं. अभी नेक्स्ट ईयर इसकी वैल्यू मैंने 7 लाख रखी हुई है, 1 लाख से राइट ऑफ किया है इसको, जो मैं हर साल कर रहा हूँ. अमोर्टाइजेशन अमाउंट जो है हर साल वो मेरी 1 लाख है, वो मैं करता जा रहा हूँ साथ साथ में. तो 6 लाख का मेरा एसेट है, बट इसकी जो रिकवरेबल अमाउंट है अब वो मैं देख रहा हूँ कि 8 लाख है. तो मुझे इंपेयरमेंट गेन 2 लाख का हो रहा है. बट नाउ ए केस यू शुड हैव टू चेक इट कि देखो 3 लाख में से ऑलरेडी 2 लाख तो मैं रिवर्स कर चुका हूं, तो फर्दर मैं मैक्सिमम 3 लाख माइनस 2 लाख 1 लाख और रिवर्स कर सकता हूं. तो 1 लाख मैं क्रेडिट कर दूंगा P&L में, और अब जो मेरे एसेट की वैल्यू है वो 6 लाख प्लस 1 लाख, दैट इज 7 लाख होगी, ना कि 8 लाख. तो मुझे उम्मीद है मैं आपको ये एग्जांपल क्लियर करने में सेटिस्फाई रहा हूं. किसी को कोई दिक्कत है तो बताओ, नहीं तो नोट डाउन करो. इसमें कोई डाउट है तो बताओ, नहीं तो नोट डाउन कर लो. Everyone is clear on these illustrations? Any doubt, beta? Note it down and tell me if there is any doubt. Otherwise, I will like to close the session. वेट करें कि क्लोज करें, बताओ. सर डाउट फ्रॉम 21-22. ओके, देखो पहले साल आपने राइट ऑफ किया, इट्स ओके. नेक्स्ट ईयर भी राइट ऑफ कर दिया. अब थर्ड ईयर में क्या हुआ कि जो एसेट है उसकी 5 लाख की तो रिकरिंग अमाउंट है और 7 लाख रुपीज रिकवरेबल अमाउंट है. तो देखा जाए तो 2 लाख का आपको प्रॉफिट हो रहा है. अब क्योंकि प्रॉफिट 2 लाख का हुआ है तो पिछले सालों में जो हम लोग 3 लाख का लॉस राइट ऑफ कर चुके हैं उसको हम रिवर्स कर चुके हैं. दिस इज रिवर्सल ऑफ इम्पेयरमेंट लॉस, नॉट गेन वी आर एंटरिंग. इंस्टेड वी आर रिवर्सिंग अवर इम्पेयरमेंट लॉस बेटा. तो दैट इज अलाउड. हम लोग रिवर्स करें, कितना रिवर्स करेंगे? मैक्सिमम 3 लाख कर सकते हैं. तो अभी तो 2 लाख ही है तो पूरा रिवर्स कर देंगे हम लोग. इसे प्रॉफिट लॉस में क्रेडिट साइड में डाल देंगे और साइमल्टेनियसली हमारे एसेट की वैल्यू बढ़ जाएगी, जो कि पहले 5 लाख थी हमारे पास ओपनिंग में एट द एंड ऑफ द ईयर, पर वो 2 लाख से और इंक्रीज हो जाएगी. सो इट विल बिकम 7 लाख. नेक्स्ट ईयर हर साल मैं 1 लाख रुपीज एक एमोटाइजेशन भी कर रहा हूँ. एमोटाइजेशन यहाँ मैंने नहीं करा, यहाँ मेरी मिस्टेक ही. और यहाँ मतलब इलस्ट्रेशन लेने के टाइम पर मैंने एमोटाइज नहीं करा. यहाँ भी 1 लाख एमोटाइज कर सकता था मैं. मतलब ये जनरल एमोटाइजेशन जो हम हर साल करते हैं मैं उसकी बात कर रहा हूँ. यहाँ भी 1 लाख एमोटाइज कर देते तो ठीक था, बट मैंने नहीं करा. चलो, क्योंकि इलस्ट्रेशन अब ज्यादा गड़बड़ हो जाएगी अगर मैं ऐसा करूंगा. तो नेक्स्ट ईयर आल्सो उसके बाद 1 लाख का मैंने एमोटाइज कर दिया. अब 2 लाख रुपए से वैल्यू बढ़ गई. उसके बाद 22-23 में इसकी वैल्यू 6 लाख है. 7 - 1 डेप्रिसिएशन भी तो डालनी है ना, इट्स अ डेप्रिसिएशन. तो अब 8 लाख रुपीज की वैल्यू हो गई है तो 2 लाख का प्रॉफिट हो रहा है. लेकिन मुझे सिर्फ 1 लाख का प्रॉफिट डालना है क्योंकि मेरे पास मैक्सिमम लॉस कितना है? 3 लाख का. 2 लाख मैं ऑलरेडी रिवर्स कर चुका हूँ, 1 लाख और रिवर्स कर दूंगा. दैट्स इट. IFRS 3 also about intangible assets. IFRS is not in your syllabus beta. And in India, AS 26 intangible might vary about future. I will go to practice. Should I know about IFRS also? बेटा CA फाइनल में IFRS आपके सिलेबस में है. You need not to worry. तब हम कर लेंगे. उसके बाद CA में भी है. तो जब जब आपके सिलेबस में जो जो चीज चाहिए होगी वो अपने आप IC करेगा. You need not to worry. बाकी जब हम प्रैक्टिस में जाते हैं तो वहां पर कुछ और ही चाहिए होता है. ये चीजें काम कम आती हैं. वहां पर तो प्रैक्टिकल नॉलेज काम आती है जो आपको लेनी चाहिए. प्रैक्टिकली काम करना आना चाहिए आपको. तो अकाउंट्स आता है सभी को. बुक्स कैसे बनाते हैं, बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स प्रैक्टिकली कैसे बनाते हैं. आपने कभी किसी कंपनी के अकाउंट्स बनाए हैं? किसी कंपनी के अकाउंट्स बनाए हो, बैलेंस शीट्स बनाई हो, वो चीजें भी चाहिए होती हैं. चलो, आई अज्यूम एवरीथिंग इज क्लियर. सो वी कैन क्लोज द सेशन नाउ. एनी डाउट टू एनीवन? Otherwise we will close the session. So if everything is clear, give proper feedback for the same. We'll meet you again in the next lecture. Okay now.